Thank you all. I'm thrilled to have a chance to learn today from Mstislav Banik, the Director of E-Services Development at the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. I want to thank Mr. Banik for taking the time to join us today. And Mr. Banik, I want to share that our thoughts and support are firmly with the people of Ukraine. I love the name, the Ministry of Digital Transformation. We've got a lot to learn from how they are actually achieving digital transformation and realizing the many benefits that we aspire to deliver here in Canada. That's why I'm pleased that the DIA story is being shared with the CIO community here in Canada. I need to note that sadly, I do not have a reliable internet connection while on vacation in rural Prince Edward Island this week. As a result, I pre-recorded this message and will just listen while online today. I first met Alex Bonet and Keith Jansen near the end of my first year in the Senate in the spring of 2019. It was then that I started to learn about the efforts to advance digital government and services in Canada. Just around that same time, Volodymyr Zelensky was elected president of Ukraine. I had the honor of being in Kyiv for that election as part of the international election oversight efforts. And what I did not know was that one of President Zelensky's first priorities was to set up the Ministry for Digital Transformation. Skip ahead 3 years to this past spring, and I happened to sit beside my local MP, Immigration Minister Sean Fraser, on a flight to Ottawa, and he started praising the effectiveness of Ukraine's DIA app. I then heard that there are some impressive Ukrainian interns in Ottawa, so I asked if one might come by my office and show me the DIA app, and Vlada Alexenko kindly agreed. My team and I were so impressed and inspired that we hired Vlada almost on the spot, and we have been benefiting from her exceptional abilities and insights ever since. Vlada wrote the summary of the DIA app that you have been provided today. So why do I care so much about the DIA application example? First, the speed with which the app was developed. Second, the intense focus on ensuring a seamless user experience. Exceptional user experiences are all too rare, especially with public services. And third, the high adoption and engagement rates. 18 million users starting from the release of the beta version in late 2019. The main goal of the DIA project is to make 100% of all government services available online and promote a new level of communication between citizens and their public services. A level of communication that is transparent, seamless, and secure. Ukraine has garnered a lot of attention from its success in launching the DIA app. I was interested to note that just last week Estonia announced that it will be modeling its own mobile app based on DIA. Additionally, we all know this wonderful country is literally fighting for its continued existence. As Ukrainian refugees have scattered across the world, the DIA app enabled them to instantly, digitally access their critical identity and credential documents and remain connected to essential government services. This mobile app is serving its government and citizens in ways that perhaps no one could have ever expected. Before I hand things back to Keith, I'd just like to ask if we consider thanking Mr. Banik for his time today by going online and making a donation to the Ukrainian relief efforts through the Red Cross or another reputable charity. The Ukrainian people are counting on our continued support as they continue to fight for their country every day. Thank you, and especially thank you, Mr. Banik.
I will start my story from the very beginning. So the DIA in translation into Ukraine means action, but in the same time this might be used as acronym, and if to use all the letters from this word, that could be like Держава и я, so like state and me. And this acronym is really has a huge support from Ukrainian people, and they're proud of it. And honestly, the first secret that I would like to share with you, that we started not from the product, and we started not from the mobile application, and even not from the web portal, and not from the digitalization process of different state services. We started the story of DIA from communication. So we had maybe in a 4 months before DIA period, we really presented the idea of our future product. we described that we are going to make the most convenient country in the world, and we will describe everything in our web portal and the mobile application in a simple human way, without any bureaucratic language, without any difficult things. And of course, we announced that we will be working on simplified public services, because when you have possibility to exchange data between governmental services, between governmental registries, it's really a great possibility to pre-fill a lot of information from a person in his or her application form for a public service, and to develop this service really in a simple way. So for example, like a spoiler of future that we will have and we have now, for example, we have really simplified application form for opening and small entrepreneurship on a web portal, and in paper it takes 10 fields, but in DIA web portal it takes sorry, in paper it has 58 fields, and on the DIA web portal it takes 10 fields. But just now before our meeting, I had the call, and we already skipped that idea, and in future we will not have any application, any form to input anything manually. The application form for opening the small entrepreneurship will be just question with the check boxes, and that's all. So this is the great experience that we give to our people, because we understand that always in all the countries everyone have the same problem, honestly. The state services has no any competition with another services. So like it's happening in business. So for example, Uber has the competition on the market. Booking.com has his own competition, and etc. But in the state services, there is only one player on this game. This is the state, and because of this, a lot of people who are the state servants, they forgot to make their services better, and we decided that we should use the best experience from business solution, and to have the best examples of business realized in DIA, like taking a bicycle or booking a room by the mobile application, or etc. So we think that in future all the state services should be like business services in different applications. So, and of course, to go to reach this this aim that we have separated ideas on this. So of course we are going to cover all the public services by digital solutions, and of course to implement this all for people, because the simplest way in this to develop, but really you have to do a lot of work to implement and people to use your digital services. So this way we are going to grow the digital literacy of Ukrainian people. And of course, as a Canada, Ukraine has a big territory, and of course we have a lot of far villages or etc., and we are going to cover all the this infrastructure by high-speed internet. And another kind of growing the IT sector in Ukraine means that we are working on the DS city, and I'll explain this in a couple of words, this about the special legal system. So honestly, the key project of the Ministry of Digital Transformation is the web portal and the mobile application. This is the one ecosystem, but we have some different focuses on these both platforms. We do not copy everything from a web portal into mobile application and from mobile application to the web. So I will explain this. And of course, we have digital education, business, and DSCT. So, and as you already see, all these products has sub-brand DIA. And this happened just because of a huge support of DIA brand in the very beginning, when we haven't yet presented web portal mobile application. We just presented the idea. So, and since that time we have a great support, and all the Ukrainian people are really ambassadors of DIA, as we saw in the welcome video in the beginning. So This is why we use this idea of the sub-brand. So about the mobile application, we really have the 18 millions of unique users of the application. So this is not the installation. This is the really unique people who use it. And honestly, this is the already more than half of the adult population of Ukraine. We have 14 digital documents and some public services available in DIA. And of course, all that we have in the web portal or in the mobile application, it's always the highest part of the visible part for people in our job, because any launching of the public service, any launching even of the documents means that that specified registry should be adopted, should be scaled, should be updated to make possible realizing any public services. Because DIA, you should understand that we do not collect the people documents on our site, so we just make the after authorization, we make the request into different registries and take back on the smartphones the documents of people. So we do not collect this data on our backend or etc. So this is like a huge gateway, and of course. And the same is going with the public services. The most number of public services that are available on the both platforms means that DIA just collects data from different registries and from simplified application form from a person, and then we share this application, this full in application form to specified authority that works already with these public services, and we just share the information for a user that is successful, unsuccessful, sharing the external documents or etc. So this is like DIA is a huge hub, and some way this is the part of our security, of course. So, and now we really do focus on the mobile application more than on a web portal, because honestly, the coverage of of the smartphones in the pockets of the people is really bigger. The reach of smartphone is bigger than the reach of the desktop computers or home computers. So it's easier to stay in touch with the person just by a smartphone. That public services that we have now, you see the list on the screen, and I will just describe you in some words. So, for example, some ideas that we have: paying taxes as you an entrepreneur, and you want to pay taxes by DIA. So you don't feel anything almost. So you just choose the period of paying taxes. So, for example, the quarter, and which one quarter you just choose in the calendar, and then you input your total income, and we just take the taxes from this sum, and that's all. You just pay by Apple Pay or Google Pay or etc. And for example, this is going the same way with the declaration or etc. And of course, even maybe on some another meeting, I would like to describe it that we have launched polls in DIA mobile application. This is the maybe even the really first experience for people when state authority, when president even can ask something from people, not just by like social survey and not to ask people on the streets, but when you have the coverage of 18 millions of people, it's easier to ask somebody about something. And we always have, like in Instagram, such a vertical video with different kinds of the answer, and you can answer, and the coverage of some polls that we have, it's 1,800,000 of people or something like that. So it's really a huge feature for state, for authorities to ask to ask people about something just for free. So it doesn't cost anything. So. And of course, we've launched some services during the war, the specified digital document, and even we've launched the TV and radio, and this is, I will stop just on it. So this is the really fantastic experience that we've got, because as you've heard, Russian forces tried to attack and to occupy the offices of the TV channels in the first weeks of the war. They tried to say that Zelensky died, or Zelensky moved abroad, or etc. And we had to find a solution to communicate with people, and we added into this state application with public services. We added the live streaming of marathon of Ukrainian channels with news and live streaming of the radio. And you to understand, we still have this live streamings in DIA, and when we had the final step of the Eurovision, international Eurovision already, we added the live streaming of the international Eurovision final into DIA, and more than 1 million Ukrainian people watched this just by the application. So this is the huge experience that we've got, and this helps us to have the really wide landscape on that's what do people prefer, honestly. In addition, in a couple of words, we have the fantastic experience of social assistance in DIA. We developed the integration between DIA and 12 biggest Ukrainian banks. And when people can apply for any social assistance, so for example, that was the payments of by the COVID, or that was the payments in the beginning of the war for people who cannot work because of the Russian forces, so etc. So when you just tap on this public service in DIA, we already make all the checks in different registry. Do you allowed to use this public service to this social assistance or not? And if yes, you just have to choose on which one banking card you would like to reach this money. So you have not to input anything, to ask on any question, and even you do not have to input the banking data of your card because of the integration. We already know the list of your cards in different banks, and on these cards you could take this the social assistance. So this is the great experience, and this is one of the reasons why the Ukrainian people love DIA so much. About the documents that we have, so you see on the screen the list of documents, and I will not explain very much, but you have to understand that all these documents are fully legislated in Ukraine. So that means that in Ukraine we really do already for more than a year have the fully legislated digital passport, and you can use only digital passport for all the public services or in business services in Ukraine. And even after war started, of course, people started to use digital documents for crossing the border and using the digital documents abroad even. And that means that for now, of course, still, but not for future, Ukrainian people have to receive these documents firstly. So for example, to have a digital passport in DIA, you have to have the physical passport, but maybe in future we will change this for some list of the documents. And really we really reinvented the experience of document structure and the experience of copies of the documents. So shortly about the document structure, I know that everything that you see is almost everything that you see is on Ukrainian, but we have the short version. This is the simple card, and some different documents could be different on its face just because of the priorities of the information of the documents. And this is the short but enough information to be used basically. So for example, to confirm your personality or etc. Of course, all the documents have the full information. And this full information even allows to copy some fields if you need this information somewhere else. And the main thing that we have, this is the QR, as you see QR barcode, and under the barcode you see the 13-digit code. So these codes I have to make some explanation on this. These codes not include any information from the document. So this is just the deep link, the way to registry for checking the document or requesting the copy of a document from the registry directly. So if somebody's take a photo of your QR code, it could be impossible to take any data of your document just by having the QR code. So it's necessary. And another thing that this QR code could be used just for once, and after it should be refreshed. So it's impossible to reuse the QR code with the request of the information of your document twice or more. So this is the part of security. And of course, this QR code, anyway, this QR code, a bar or a certain digit code, refreshes every 3 minutes. So it's impossible to take a photo of your QR code, for example, and to use it later or etc. It's impossible. Of course, the necessary thing that you see and you have to understand for implementation digital documents later in Canada means that why do we have QR bar and 13-digit code? This is the result of implementation of digital documents. So of course, we do not just develop the digital documents and set to people and to the country. If you want, you can take it. Not, of course. We implemented this firstly in the state services, and some, for example, Patrol Police has the tablets and they can scan the QR code of the document, and this is the understandable way. But when we came to the supermarket networks who need to check your age, for example, yes, they have not the QR code reader, so this way we added the barcode with the same function. But later, when we come to some banks who has no possibility to read the QR code or barcode, we added the 13-digit code, and for example, the IT system of the bank could include the specified field for this code, and this will take the same function as a QR or a bar. So this is the result of implementation. And in addition, about the implementation generally, so we do not just have the ministry who has ministry team and state entrepreneurship DIA who develop DIA, who develop the processes and etc. We have the implementation department, so like a delivery team who work with business, who work with state authorities, with a huge request to implement working with digital documents on their side, because it's the most necessary thing to implement. So if you give a possibility to your people to use digital documents, you have to solve the problems of when, how, and in what way they could use it. So we did this. And for now, we've launched the passports in October, late October of 2020, and since the time we have more than 5,000 companies and authorities in Ukraine who already work with digital documents, starting from from the maybe some offline offices of public services and to delivery offices, banks, and etc. Of course, the starting working with digital documents not just depends on the wish of this company, because they have to make some development and to integrate with our system by the API, or we have some another kinds of solutions already to work with these documents. So on the screen you can see the two images. It's basic validation of the personality, because it works like DIA to DIA. So in DIA, I don't know, maybe on this first screen in the right top corner you see the QR icon. So it's possible to use this QR code reader just to check each other documents. But if this needs for company, we have really short and quick and simplified onboarding, and integration with DIA to any company could take maybe a week or 2 weeks as maximum. And on the first step, this is necessary. On the first step, we check the rights of this company on working with the personal data of people. So what I mean about, for example, bank comes to us and they want to implement working with digital documents. That means that bank is allowed to take copies of their documents and to store some information, some personal information on their side from the citizen. But if, for example, we discuss the same question with the supermarket network, that means that they can just check the age and validate the document, so this document is truthful or not from the person, and they are not allowed to store this data. And we solve this on the step on the back end. So for people, for citizen, it's no matter, no difference, just show the QR code or barcode, but system already knows what is the request. So this is the request on the validation, or this is the request on a copy of a passport, for example. And of course, the sharing copy of a passport is another wonderful thing that we've done, because we really understood when we started exploring this that that we have to reinvent the idea of a copy of a passport. Because in all the countries, as I know, the same experience that people have with the physical copies of a passport, for example. So they, for example, have to take a copy and to sign all the copies and to input the information about the date, or etc. And this is the paperwork all the time in all the countries. So, and we understood that it's this experience could not be used for digital documents, because some ideas like taking the screenshots or etc. and even printing something, it's like to try to input fuel into Tesla. So it's just the absolutely different experience and absolutely modern idea. So what we've done, if somebody, so for example, the case when you want to open the banking account, you come and you show the QR code or barcode, or you just give the certain digit code. Anyway, after this you receive the notification with the information about the request of this. So on the first screen, honestly, this is you see the address of this company, the list of data that they requested, and etc. So you have to be sure that the real company asks you about the copy of a document. If you agree and if you confirm that, the next step is the next two steps on the screen that you see. This is the using the digital signature based on the mobile application. And on the first screen, when you want, when you have to look into camera, this is here is two basic steps. First of them is the liveness detection. So we have to be sure that you are a live person. So we ask you to move, to blink, to smile, etc. And we analyze your face. Are you a live person? So it's impossible to take a photo maybe near camera or etc. And the second step on this camera interface, we start comparing your face, the biometry of your face, with the biometry of your face in your passport, so in a passport registry. And after matching these faces, your face and your face in your passport, not on the mobile application, but in the registry, you can move to the next step and input the PIN code of the DIA signature. PIN code of the DIA signature. So this is the digital signature based. So this is why what's going on the back end, when you confirm this request for a copy of your passport, for example, we started generating the data of copy of your passport into future document. When you pass the biometry of your face and etc., we take your digital signature, you input the PIN code of this digital signature, and you sign the copy of your document by yourself, and then on the last screen you share this into the system of this bank. So what this mean? This mean that the taking the copy of digital passport some way it's like the result of experience of paper. So when you have the information from your document and you signed it by yourself, but no one prints it. And of course, you just share this by yourself, by your wish, by your will, into the system of this company, and the system of this company receives into the system directly two kinds of information. Or on the left side, you see the PDF of the copy of a passport. So as you see, we understood that copy of a passport, if it is generated by the system and if this signed by digital signature already, have not to be alike a passport, paper passport or digital passport. So the main task of this document is just to be verified list of information from your document, and we do this. And on the right side of this, you can see the machine reading data. So normally developed IT infrastructure interface, I don't know, system of this bank or another authority, company, etc. They can just take this data and pre-fill all information from you, not to input manually your name or etc. So you just confirm, and they already got this already. So no one asks and no one spends an extra time on it. So this is the absolutely new experience that we've done. And of course, I'm sure that you have already questions about the digital signature. So the digital signature, this is another thing that in which one we've invented the experience, because again, in different countries and in Ukraine, of course, the experience of digital signature, this is the specified file on the USB flash drive or even on a CD. And honestly, that people who are not the lawyers, the accountants, the state servants or something like that, they always don't know what's mean the digital signature. And this is the really that was the huge blocker of implementing the digital public services, because the most number of application forms of the public services should be signed by digital signature. And of course, if you want to implement the application forms in a smartphone, you have to find the solution of this, because it's not very safety idea to ask person to store his or her digital signature on the cloud storage or etc. So what we've done, we've we changed the communication about this. So we do not say to people that this is something huge and something super greatly important, and that you have to be honest if you want to create the digital signature. So we just ask person to activate digital signature that will help to take the public services and to use on the third-party website this digital signature. Technically, we use the safety storage of the smartphone like a safety storage for a half of digital signature. Another half of the digital signature is stored in our cloud storage of the producer of digital signature. So state producer of digital signature has the second part of your signature. When you pass the liveness detection, and when you pass the step with matching your biometry of your face with the passport and taking the PIN code, we take all these two parts of digital signature in common, and then you sign the document, sign the application form. So on this screen, this is the flow of creating digital signature. Of course, it's the same liveness detection, biometry, PIN, and then you have your digital signature. And already in Ukraine, we implement this too. So even third-party website with some online documentation implemented DIA, so you just can scan the QR code of some document and sign this by your face, as we say. So it really takes a second to create and to use the digital signature, and this is the experience that we reinvented. And technically, this experience helped us to cover, to make the coverage of digital signatures through Ukrainian people bigger, and really we've launched this maybe 1.5 years ago, or maybe, yes, something like that, and we already have more than 8 millions of created digital signatures there. And in the same time, it opens for the state as you, it opens the door to you to implement different public services into smartphone, and even to implement some public services on the web portal, for example, but just with the possibility to use this digital signature without flash drives or etc. And of course, it already could be used, and we do this like an authorization option on different websites where it's better to confirm your personality. So website of selling the cars or etc. Like we already used to use for login by Facebook or by Gmail. So it's in Ukraine, it's already starting being possible to log in by DIA, not to share any personal data, but to be sure that this is the real person and real account and real seller or something like that. This is the couple of words of key generation, so I will not explain it deeply because not to spend time, and maybe in future you'll be interested in this more. And the couple of words of web portal, and as I said in the very beginning, that we have some different philosophy of these two platforms. So honestly, it's really not necessary to have digital documents on the web portal. You will not use them. But in the same time, some difficult application forms that could not be too simplified, like construction services or licenses or something like that, it's easier to implement, to apply for them to people on the web portal. So we have some more difficult public services on the web portal, of course. And for now, we have the coverage in common, maybe more than 100, yes, close to 120 public services available on the both platforms. And this is our result of the work since, well, I think close to 3 years. So I started working in India on the 7th of September of 2019. We presented in the end of September, and the first beta version was in December of 2019. So a couple of words about another services that we have just for a landscape. So DIA Digital Education, this is the as for me, this is the great experience of digital literacy, because it's always implemented in a series. So most of them have close to 10 series or etc. Sometimes even you can pass the special test as a result. And here we have different educational programs for example, how to pay for a house online, or how to be a blogger, or about the digital security of your equipment, or etc. So a lot of them, and really do many series. And of course, a lot of people already watched this, and on some job application forms in Ukraine, they even sometimes already request the result of the test of the digigram, when this is like a test on your digital education level. So, and the DIA business is the platforms with the information what can help the young entrepreneurs to make their business. So they are really, as I remember, more than 70 kinds of advices on different topics on a business, or how to register, how to make the business plan, how to pay taxes, etc., 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 etc. And of course, even this web portal has a possibility to connect to the mentor and to have the real support from a live person who will advise you, who will educate you, and who will help you to do your business well. And this is a really necessary thing. So this is like a good story, but honestly, if somebody of you or your family members started the businesses in the very beginning, when this is the small business, I was an entrepreneur before working in the ministry. So in the very beginning, you registered and you don't know what to do on the next step. And you really do need some help, some advices on this. And this web portal, the business, helps people to realize that. And could be even the offline hubs. I will not talk about this, but this what you see on the screen was destroyed because this is the in Bucha. This photo is taken in Bucha. I'm sure that you've heard about the city. So this building just was fully destroyed in the very beginning of the war. And about the Dia city, so we implement some kind of virtual country with another law system, with another tax system, and etc. So firstly for IT companies, but in future I'm sure that will be wider possibilities. And honestly, the main idea is to make working of IT companies in Ukraine more transparent, and to make Ukraine more attractive for Ukrainian and international IT companies, of course. And in the same time, this is the huge idea that if you make taxes some lower, that's mean not that you will reach less money into your budget, but that's mean that more people will be paying taxes because it will be more adopted to their possibilities and more transparent. So as for me, that's all. And after I can share this presentation with you, and you will see it more in a couple of words in the end. Before your question started, I would like to say that we are really open to share all this experience with any another country, and with Canada, of course, too, because we feel that our mission of like the mission of our team and our ministry is to make the life of Ukrainian people more simple in communication between with the state. And if we can share this experience and communication with the state for the people who live in another country will be easier, and or even sometimes more pleased, it will be a really great experience for all of us. And really last week we already agreed with Estonia, who for a lot of years was the #1 in the digitalization country. Estonia signed the documents, and we are going to share even the code of the mobile application into Estonia to implement such a solution in their country for their people. Thank you very much, and I'm open. Ready for your questions.
Thank you very, very much. That was, but based on the chat and the types of questions coming in, the questions I don't think are so much for you, but so much for us to be like, why can't we do it? If it can be done, you've demonstrated it can be done. So I'm going to ask 3 questions. One will be public sector specific, one will be private sector specific, and then just a question of my own interest. But then certainly for folks on the line as well, whether you want to put it in the chat or chime in once we've gone through these, that'd be great. What I'm curious about from a public sector point of view is all those various services that you brought into the envelope of DIA. In Canada, we have a number of different ministries with responsibilities for various services. Is there any experience that you've had in Ukraine with respect to the internal pressures and or stressors in relation to bringing all those ministries along to actually have a one single use thing. Because as you can imagine, border services is a piece, you got vaccination status, you got all these different types of services federally. And then in Canada, of course, with our federation, you got provincial and municipalities. But I'm curious, you created the digital transformation ministry. It had a mandate, but I'm assuming there's other ministries that ultimately had the services that needed to be connected. How did that internal pressure, stressor, how did that come together to create a unified approach?
Our experience is next. I will be shortly and explain deeply in the same time. So first of all, we have a huge political view of will of Zelensky to implement this. And this was his idea before he became a president. And we started working on this, and this helped us in the very beginning, because in Ukraine, in the same, we have two kinds of public services, of like general state services and municipal. We do not touch for now for municipal services. We just work on a state, and of course, in the beginning, in the first half of a year, it was difficult, because no one wanted to change anything on their side. So Ministry of Digital Transformation not starting being responsive for any public service. We like an interface, a hub, and the proceeding of the application form is always on the side of the specified minister. And in the beginning, it was difficult, and just the political will helped us. Because the Minister Fedorov, he is in the same time the Vice Prime Minister. So this is like more power in that time. But after half of a year, after first of the results, we started to feel full changes on this. So after first success and after first products that you've launched, when people are happy, everyone wants to launch the public service on your site, and sometimes even not trying to make something better on their IT infrastructure, and we have to help them to develop this. And just half of a year. But another genius, absolutely genius things that launched the Mikhailo Fedorov, we implemented the position like a CDTO, Chief Digital Transformation Officer, in any ministry, in every ministry, and in every huge state authority. So this is like the deputies of the ministries, deputies of the heads of authorities, who have their own digital departments, and we work in common. So they are like our agents in every ministry, and they are responsive for digitalization process. So first half of a year was too difficult, and no one wanted to do this. And one of the reasons that we used to take them on board on these services, we explained a lot of times that they will stay as a responsive authorities on the public services. So for example, operating the small entrepreneurships means that person applies on DIA, but then this is just the sphere of Ministry of Justice, and that's all. And only they are responsive for this public service. And of course, it's necessary to communicate with them all that you've done. Even some ministers do not support that product that you've launched in common with somebody of them. You have to take him on a press conference and to help him to feel that this is his victory on this. So this is necessary, because in the beginning it was really difficult for us. We came from business, and we didn't used to play like these political games or etc. And we just said, why who realized everything against that ministry, but not with help of that ministry, have to take the attraction into that persons. But this is the really rules of this game, that when you have to take all of them and to take glory to them. And this was the experience that we had with the passport. So what is necessary? We felt after launching the driver documents, we felt that that launching the digital passport is just a question of simple tasks, the list of simple tasks and simple solution and legislation that you have to do. And when we started discussion with the head of demographic service of Ukraine, he came, and he is a huge man, big man, and he said, never in Ukraine will be the digital passport. And we had really hard debates on a month or maybe a month and a half. And every week this was the 2 or 3 hours debates, and always he had the new reasons not to implement. And after that, once I opened the Facebook and they see his they saw his interview when he announces the digital passport, first digital passport in the world, and he took this like his own victory, his own result, and this helped us very much. Yes.
Very good. So on the private sector, you mentioned, the banks would come to you to be able to integrate. You talked about the supermarket age checking and those sorts of things. With respect to, there was a conversation we had just yesterday as a council around build versus buy, and ultimately the tech stack that helps support all of this from a back end and so forth. I'm curious with respect to the DIA application and the various services that are integrated, how much of it was built inside the Ukraine ministry versus how much did you leverage private sector organizations to build the capabilities to be able to get to where you are today?
What the way we had in the very beginning, when we presented the solution of working with documents, we just get support from 2 biggest Ukrainian banks and 2 biggest Ukrainian delivery postal offices, so Ukrainian Post, and we have another one, Nova Poshta, who is really bigger than Ukrainian Post. So, and we presented them. After that, some middle-sized companies and early adopters, digitized companies come to us with a request of implementing, and we help them. But in the very beginning, we created the top list of companies in every basic sphere, and we come to them and requested the implementation of digital documents. So we come to them. We had some difficult negotiations sometimes. So for example, I was on the meeting with a world-known bank who is in the first maybe 10 banks in Ukraine in scale. And I said about the digital documents implementation, and not very young man who is the CEO of this bank in Ukraine. He is already slow and just silent talking. He said, "We are not interested. Our clients are not interested of using the digital documents." And I said the really simple arithmetics for him. I said, for example, at that time we had just 4 million of users, and they said, for example, you have the 10% of the market of banking sphere in Ukraine. 10% of DIA users, it's 400,000 of people. Are you agree to reject them in taking the banking services in your bank if they come with digital document? And that was like an example of negotiation, and we had a lot, but the way of implementation on the state level was how we had the half of a year like an experiment. So legislation on the level of the cabinet of a minister, like some who wants that people and that companies can use the digital documents. And during that time, we discussed everything with the parliament, and parliament legislated the digital documents. So after the half of a year, on the previous August, on the Independence Day, that was the first day when the digital documents started being fully implemented, fully legislated in Ukraine. So if you come to any company and they reject your digital document, you can call the police. And this, so we had a time when everyone was free to implement. Then when already all the country knew that this change into the law was voted, but starting implementation of this law is prolonged on another date, so they will have to be in some quickly, to make something to implement the documents. But for those companies who didn't realize that on their side, we really had a social effect when people just recorded on video how the manager of the bank or any another company rejects his digital documents, or they even recorded how the police can, and etc. So this is the huge social effect. And for small companies who cannot implement and who develop something on their side, we have some small solution. It calls DIA QR. When on the web portal DIA, you can log in as a business and create their QR code with a request on the document. So, for example, you're a small hotel, you register and you print this QR code on your entrance, on the reception, and person comes, scan this QR code by DIA and shares this signed copy of a passport on the email. So we have a lot of different simplified solutions. So the legislation and the penalties, and the size of a penalty is 8,000 hryvnias. It's not little money for Ukraine to take the penalty for not taking the digital document.
Very good. Well, I will actually hold my question, my third one, because there's others on the call that certainly have some. Looking to you, Ian, first, and I don't know whether or not my question sort of hinted on it or got to it. Is there anything else from your specific question, Ian, that was not covered? Okay, well, as we wait on Ian there, just because it was in relation to third-party suppliers in the delivery,
Yeah.
so I think you touched on it. The other piece, and I'll pass it to Jim Love, certainly wants to hear more about the DIA City. So Jim, if you want to elaborate more on your specific question.
If I see that question about the DIA City, I cannot describe it deeply because this is not my not the sphere that I responsible. So I just know in general, and we can just organize to you the extra meeting with the deputy minister who are responsible for this for DIA City. But just in a couple of words, in the very beginning. It was something difficult to launch it because IT companies were afraid that we will change something, we will grow the taxes or etc. But now you understand, before the war we had, as I remember right, 40 residents of DIA City, like companies, and for now we have more than 300 during the war. Yes, this is just how it works. Yes, we have the special. It's like a virtual city, so it's no matter where you're located or etc. It's another list of laws there for companies, another list of taxes not accorded to Ukrainian taxes in general, and their legislation of the relationship between company and employee is different from the general Ukrainian legislation of work. I don't know how to say. So they're different. We implemented the gig contracts because in Ukraine we had a lot of IT employees who work at like a small entrepreneur for a big company, and this is like an optimization of the taxes, and we solved this problem. We saved the rights of the employees, but in the same time the company will not pay huge taxes for him.
Right, there's another question around standards and trust frameworks. For your benefit, we're an accredited standard development organization, so we're developing national standards around data governance, AI, IoT. It was actually one of the questions I had was, you're talking about liveness detection and the way in which you do that. I'm curious whether there are standards that underpin that, whether those were created through third parties, independent parties, or whether it was ministry grown. And then I guess to Mike Cook's question as well, like, did this implementation align with any trust frameworks or digital technology standards that supported the implementation and ongoing operations? So if you could talk to us a little bit about frameworks and standards to actually implement Where'd they come from? And wherever they are, could you please send them our way?
Yes, on the back end of liveness detection, we have it seems like 4 neurons who analyze you, and in addition on the iPhones we use the 3D camera to pick up the distance from camera to different parts of your face to be sure on it, and in the end of this check we on all these 4 neurons we have different scale, different percent of matching, and after this we use the common result and pass or not pass person to the next. So in legislation we didn't legislate these terms, these things in law, so we don't have the fixed condition of this liveness detection for now. So we just use this experience, we develop this, and we work with different pen tests, with different things that who can try to leak and to skip this liveness detection by somebody else. And we time after time we really order some tests from another countries, from another companies, and we just specify them more.
Mike, is there anything more you'd like to ask or question?
Of course, we have the basic standards, but honestly, there is no standards for such solutions in the country when you develop something new, first of all. So,
yeah, I was wondering just about specifically alignment to W3C kind of credential or presentation of credentials, or any relationship to trust frameworks where you guys were able to kind of align with what might be internationally recognized kind of frameworks like NIST or others.
Basically, I will, if I understand you correct, so I would like to separate my answer on 2 pieces. First piece about the liveness detection and etc. Of course, it's not legislated like in details, but the digital signature, of course, is that we use basically on the smartphone and on the cloud storage of our producing center. Of course, it's implemented according to the terms of trust services that we have in Ukraine legislated. And for now, we are already adopting this to the terms of trust services of the European Union. So because you know, in the Soviet Union was one philosophy, and after that, yes, we work on the eIDAS signatures. Yes, we work on this, and it will be available soon. So technically, if not to speak about the interface, this is the classic separated key, and we just use another kind of implementation of this. But this is the standards of this is classic eIDAS tool. Yes.
Very good. Well, certainly if there are materials within the ministry that speak to the kinds of requirements and so forth beyond the legislation, like certainly there, I would imagine there's policies. You mentioned trust services, both in Ukraine and as well within Europe. So if there's specific documentation that kind of presents the kind of requirements and, you know, the things that end up resulting in a pass versus a fail or these types of things, we're certainly keenly interested to take a look at those and see their application within the Canadian context. So noting we only have a few last minutes for final questions or comments, I will ask whether there are any other specifics that you'd like to hear from Mr. Banik. I think it's clear that there's aspects of what you presented here today that I'm sure we're going to come back with some more questions and to hear more from you and your team. There's lots here to learn, lots to unpack. So if there are no further questions, I will just thank you for the time. You know, all of our support, of course, behind Ukraine. And we're very much looking forward to collaborating more and to be able to see whether or not, to your point around Ukrainians that are not only in Ukraine, but Ukrainians that are in Canada, You know, there's an opportunity for integration between the countries to provide what, you know, the wow statement was, your outcome's quite clear. You want to be the convenient country of the world. If we could be as concrete and as succinct as that in Canada, to have that goal and ultimately to implement toward it, that, you know, that would be amazing. Last question for you. How do Canadian companies best partner with you with your digital projects?
Maybe in the very beginning, because I don't know, implementation Ukrainian digital documents in Canada, as in another country, means that you firstly decide what is the digital documents for you. But a lot of Ukrainians who moved abroad time after time, they, you know, of course, have some situation when they apply for some services, and even from business, and some Ukrainian people have no documents anymore, just in digital. So it's really possible to implement reading these documents by another countries. And of course, about the digital projects, and first of all, I invite everyone to Dia City, because this is something wonderful. And welcome to Ukraine after victory, of course.
Very good. Excellent. Well, thank you again for your time and for sharing all that information. We got lots to digest here, and we look forward again to collaborating. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day. You have just the beginning of the day, so you have time to think about my presentation and our solutions. Bye.
Take care.